What's up, YouTube? What's going on? So, it's your boy here, Anthony Delgado, back at it again. And the question today is Laravel versus WordPress. So, as you guys know, I've been using WordPress off and on for like the last 10 years. I am definitely like a WordPress veteran. I was using WordPress since version 1. And I've really seen it evolve and seen a lot of different iterations, and it's definitely like a kind of a love-hate relationship, especially in the developer community. A lot of people like look down on using WordPress as a solution to solve problems, and you know, it's kind of a give and take, right? On the WordPress side, you have a lot of benefits. It quickly scales. It gives you a lot of functionality out of the box. You know, you have user management, you have you know, database schema, you have their whole plugin marketplace, all these different solutions that have really been figured out for you. And I think that's where the controversy and where the criticism of WordPress comes from. And it actually comes from the fact that it is so easy to create things with WordPress because of all the themes and all the plugins and things of that nature, and you don't feel like you're really being a programmer or you're really coding because, you know, admittedly, there's a limited amount of coding that's necessary to configure everything. You know, some sort of tweaks, a little bit of CSS tweaks, or some little bit of custom PHP, but for the most part, there's solutions out there for a lot of problems, and you can get up and going rather quickly. But what I've found is at scale, there are times where all of that out of the box convenience that helped you get started so quickly will then limit you in the customizations that you want to make along the way. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you're using BuddyPress. BuddyPress, extremely popular plugin. What this plugin actually does is it will allow you to create a social network using WordPress. So no coding experience required, minimal setup required. You download the plugin, you install it, you click a few settings, and you have yourself a social network out of the box. Where the problem arises is when you then want to add additional features on top of the pre-existing BuddyPress template, what it gives you out of the box. That's not to say that you can't do that. With coding, and you know, WordPress is open source, BuddyPress is open source. With the platforms that are open source, if you know PHP, you can go in there and you can make a million customizations. But what ends up happening a lot of the times is you end up with this kind of Frankenstein sort of WordPress application that's doing a lot of things and may not be the simple, clean solution that you're after. And then on the other hand, you have Laravel. Now Laravel is giving you out of the box some structure and some composability and some rules. And Laravel, from a programming and developer standpoint, is really following the best practices of what a developer should be learning and how they should be operating. It operates out of a MVC, model view controller, organized with database schemas. Database migrations are built in. It's really designed for the modern web. It's designed to be a web app, a modern web application. It's designed to be deployed. It's designed to be in version control. WordPress is not like that. Now, you can have WordPress in a version control environment, which we do. You know, we have our WordPress inside of GitHub. We have staging environments, we have database migrations, but all of those things, or a lot of those things, happen due to third-party plugins and third-party add-ons. So for example, there's a plugin called MigrateDB Pro. We use that to do database migrations because the way WordPress's databases are set up, even to this day, those databases are not designed to be migrated. They use absolute URLs, which is just one of a few problems. And basically, if you had staging.mywebsite.com or mywebsite.com or localhost, those 3 different places where your website would be, WordPress doesn't take that into account in their database. It's saving the whole path of the URL. So using DB Migrate Pro, there's a multi-step process where you deploy your code, then you deploy Migrate Pro, and there's a migration there. With Laravel, there's a command line interface, and with a little bit of DevOps, you can set up a continuous deployment environment where every time you push code on GitHub, it's automatically going to a staging environment, automatically migrating the database, setting up that schema. There's a lot of automation that can be put into that. That being said, almost everything with Laravel is going to have to be done from scratch. Out of the box, there is auth, which I even think the auth is optional, but there's a command that you can run in Laravel to kind of set up the authentication. Then after that, you're on your own. If you wanted to do a blog, you have to come up with the schema. You have to think up and dream up, okay, I'm creating a blog, what's the database schema that I need for that? You have to think up if you're going to sell products or if you're going to start a social network, right? Like BuddyPress. You have to come up with all of those schemas. So the nice thing about WordPress is out of the box, a lot of that database stuff is done for you. Now on the flip side, even though it's done for you, you may not like the way it's done. And I think that is, again, one of the big beefs with WordPress. Once people do go under the hood and they look at how these plugins are set up and they look at how even the native WordPress database is set up, they don't like what they see. They don't like the way it's structured, and you can hypothetically make changes to anything because it's open source, but you are almost like trying to swim upstream. Like if you really didn't like WordPress's database schema and you wanted to change it, if you're not following the WordPress conventions, you're really swimming upstream and you're really going against the grain as far as it, and you might spend more time trying to customize WordPress and end up with this Frankenstein, and it might take longer than just doing it from scratch when you know exactly what you want. So now the question remains, what do you do? What do you choose? And I think that depends. It depends on the business use case. And I think as developers or technologists and software engineers and people who are using this as a craft, we have to realize that we're using this as a craft to solve a real business problem. So I think it depends. I think you have to take a step back. If you're a really early stage company, if you have a very limited budget, or you're still trying to figure out what your business model is, I think there's a big case for WordPress. It's user-friendly. You can get a prototype up and running really quickly. You can kind of test the market, and you can put something out there and see if people want it. One of the entrepreneurs that I always brag about is the founder of Groupon. What he did to test out Groupon, he barely knew how to code. He threw up a WordPress website and he put a box where you could subscribe to his newsletter on, I believe it was MailChimp. So super simple website. Do you want coupons in your email? Sign up for our newsletter. And the Groupon that we know today with a mobile app and all this stuff, it started out as a newsletter, and he utilized WordPress to get that newsletter in front of people and test his idea and figure out if the market even wanted that. Now, today, I doubt Groupon uses WordPress anymore. I know for a fact that their mobile apps obviously aren't written in WordPress, and I'm pretty sure their website isn't written in WordPress anymore, but they started out using WordPress. That allowed them to test the market and get in front of people. So I think if you're a super early stage company, or you're super bootstrapped and you're just trying to figure things out for the first time, throwing up a WordPress site and testing out the market, I think, is a great solution. The second reason why I think WordPress is a great solution would be for a media company, a content company. Do you want to become the next CNN for hackers? Do you want to become the next fashion blog? You know, any sort of blog or media publication where you want to be publishing content and your primary revenue source and your primary business model is going to be a blog, then WordPress is an awesome solution. Almost every single major media publication today, a magazine, online magazines, they're all using WordPress. So that's everyone from the New York Times to CNN to Entrepreneur to Forbes. They are all using WordPress. So if you want to become the next Forbes, do you want to become the next New York Times with, you know, whatever your spin is on the content that you want to create, I think that WordPress is the perfect solution. And on the opposite side, if you're trying to build something like that using Laravel, I would probably advise you against it. Now, what's the case for Laravel? If you are a software focused company, you're coming out with an app. Laravel was actually designed not even to create websites, it was designed to create APIs for apps. So if you're creating an app, whether that's a web app or a mobile app, 100% using Laravel is the right solution, but I would recommend that for technical founders. So if you're a technical founder and you're creating an application and you are familiar with Laravel, 100% go for it. Now, if you are hiring someone and you want them to build this for you, right? And you're thinking, okay, should we go with Laravel? Should we go with WordPress? One of the nice things about them building it in WordPress is you're going to be able to manage it yourself. So depending on your budget, allowing them to build it in WordPress means that you're able to log in and control some things yourself, turn off plugins, find your own plugins and set them up yourself. Now you have to ask yourself, are you the type of person that's even going to do that? A lot of times what I've found with my clients is they will say, I want to be able to log in, and then they'll have their website up for, you know, over a year and they still don't log in, and they you know, they don't even know how to. So if you're a super techie, kind of hands-on person, but you're not a coder, having the thing built in WordPress is a good thing. On the other side, if you're trying to come out with an app and you want to have a database and have that database served up, I think Laravel is a great solution. If you're going to come out with you know, the next version of Skype, or you're going to come out with the you know, next version of Uber, if you're trying to build an Uber competitor using WordPress, I would completely advise against it. The three things that I know that WordPress does very good out of the box is blogging and media companies, social networking sites using BuddyPress. It's a great way to test and prototype that out. And you can do a forum or a community using BBPress. So those, oh, and the final thing is WooCommerce, and that will allow you to create a Shopify type of store. And maybe I'll talk about Shopify versus WooCommerce in another video. But those are the solutions where WordPress really shines out of the box. It's really going to give you everything that you need. If you don't fall into one of those four categories and you're trying to create something similar to Uber or similar to Groupon or even similar to like Yelp, a lot of these really pushing the limit type of use cases, 100% I would recommend going custom and using something like Laravel. I think Laravel, especially in the PHP world, is the gold standard of frameworks for building and prototyping applications. And yeah, but let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button if you like it. And yeah, if you have any questions or things that you want to answer, ask me, be sure to let me know. And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.